There is nothing, I reckon, more unattractive than a tightwad. People say they're tighter than a fish's arsehole. You're a Scrooge. You're mean. You're a penny pincher. You're kind of a tightwad. You're sort of, little tight with money. I hate that. I think it's a really horrible way to be, that kind of tight-fisted approach with money. And funnily enough, people would actually say, oh no, that's because, people, are poor. And that's actually not true. Actually, people I've found the most generous are usually people that don't have much money. It's always people with money who are so freaking tight with it. And it's just a repulsive kind of personal thing. And I think how you are with money, to me, is how you are spiritually in the world. It's what you are prepared to give. It's all about self-interest. Cash is the token of self-interest and how much you're prepared to give away. And that's why I think, I know when I had no money at all, I would be quite prepared, to give away my last $20 because it didn't mean that much, because it was only $20, but in proportion to my income, it was a lot. So, didn't really matter. I do remember too, the people in my life. There was this guy I shared a house with years ago. I remember he used to keep his toilet paper in his room because he was worried other people used too much. I mean, how do you even be like that? It was so funny. We had this party one night, and I remember this particular house guest actually obviously panicked when they couldn't find toilet paper, and they actually wiped their ass on his towel. I was like, yes. All right, that was me. I did it, but don't. To this day, I swear it was someone else. I was a bit drunk. I thought it'd be a good joke, sort of like a toilet paper tightness lesson. Anyway, but, I just think that's just, that is just plain nasty, that kind of, that whole attitude that you would even think to live like that. I'm telling you this because I had this experience the other night, and these tightwads come at you and you're not ready for it. I'm out at dinner. It was my husband's birthday. I had a nice group of his friends assembled, and some beautiful friends of his were in town at the time, and they asked if some other friends of theirs could come along. And we said, yes, of course. So we didn't actually know them, but that was okay. They seemed like nice people. At the end of the night, the bill comes out on the table. My friend, who just happens to be sitting next to me, takes responsibility for the bill, and nobody really wants to do that. And she kind of works out, it's $65 a head. It was a beautiful meal. And everyone else goes, oh, that's quite good. There was wine, there was the main meal, there was shared stuff, there was a bit of dessert. Not everybody had everything, but, it was a birthday dinner. Meanwhile, the person that we didn't actually know, the gentleman gets really cranky. He's cranky. I could say, he's firing up. And he comes over and he goes, has that curmudgeon, that's not okay. We wouldn't have had more than $60 between the two of us. And, you're thinking, fair enough. Obviously you didn't drink anything. And I have to actually backtrack here and say, for most of the night, he was talking about his property portfolio around the world. So it was coming as a bit of a shock, and you go, well, fair enough if you didn't drink. And so my friend says, well, just throw in 100. We've all thrown in 150 as couples and this and that, and so that's okay. But no, he actually gets really, I can see he calls his wife into the toilet for like an economic summit, some sort of fiscal kind of thing, to actually talk about how angry he is at this outrage that he's going to have to pay money for stuff that maybe he didn't eat, which would be terrible because he was attending something he actually wasn't invited to. But anyway, he goes off to the toilet, and I went, oh God, he's getting crazy. I throw another $20 down. At this point, the guy's paid, $80 for two of them, which, maybe it's a little bit more than they consume, maybe not, who knows. Usually I thought it was customary for people to throw in a bit extra to cover the birthday boy, but we're all quite happy. He comes back, he sees the extra 20, not happy. No, he has another go. This time he's really aggressive, and we're all a little bit buzzy from a few glasses of wine, enjoying the night, and then suddenly this man that we've never met, who was telling us how much property he owned while he was, and what a great time he's having travelling around on this outrageous great holiday, it's getting stuck into my poor friend who just had nothing to do with the bill except sort of arbitrarily making it up. Anyway, he actually then says, I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with this at all. And she, of course, ill able to afford it, just pulls $20 out of her wallet and goes, here, take it. At which point he's only paid $60 for the two of them. He is happy. She, meanwhile, have to add it up later, had paid $170 for her and her partner, which was kind of ironic. They left, they didn't even say thank you or anything. I felt so sorry for this poor man's wife because I think she was actually secretly humiliated. Being married to someone like that must be just dreadful. And I was so reminded of what a downer that was. I didn't want my friends to know because luckily at the other end of the table I didn't actually notice the fuss that this very tight-wadded kind of chap was making. I mean, would you humiliate yourself like that for 20 bucks? You know, I'd pay 40 bucks just to avoid making myself look like such a wanker. But I did come across this very interesting quote, which I want to share with you. And I'm going to leave it with you because I think, for me, this actually shows it up. It's from a psychologist called Paul Piff. That's a pretty bad name, but Paul Piff. But he published this research that correlated wealth with an increase in unethical behaviour. And this is his quote. He says, "While having money doesn't necessarily make anybody anything, the rich are way more likely to prioritise their own self-interests above the interests of other people. They are more likely to exhibit characteristics that we would stereotypically associate with, say, assholes." Need I say more? That is so perfect, isn't it? Oh, I'm only going out to dinner with poor people in the future. Anyway, how much did I owe you? Oh, you wouldn't believe it. Oh, look, I don't have I don't have a 50. Can I pay you next time?